Get the cool. It's the volume is down. Perfect. All right. And 1, 2, 3. Raider Nation, stand up. Raider Nation, please stand up. Cover 3 Deep Raider podcast here. Dwayne Douglas, Sean Oahu Raider, and Monster Mash Ken. The best part of your week starts right now, folks. Cover 3 Deep Raider podcast. A lot to go over. R.I.P. to Black Rob. Hopefully, we can make this show like whoa. I met him. I met him when I was doing a hip hop show, and he couldn't have been more gracious of a human being.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, really a good human being as far as that goes. So rest in peace to him. RTPOW podcast is the Twitter handle. For me, Cover 3 Deep is the Twitter handle on Twitter as well. So Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. We're there. 858-429. 9465 is the text line. We have some questions off of that. I'm gonna have you guys hopefully remind me. I don't want to skip through questions at the end. Hopefully we can remember to get that. Thanks for folks listening to the show in San Diego, Brooklyn, New York, Austin, Texas, let's see, St. Paul, Minnesota, and Virginia Beach, Virginia, from the East Coast on the Atlantic Ocean. It's Monster Mash Ken. How you doing today?
I'm feeling good, man. Ain't no reach here. You know what I'm saying?
In prison, maybe, but not here. Sean Oahu Raider out there in Hawaii. How you doing today?
Keeping myself together, man. I'm doing okay.
So
neutral. And
I'm podcasting off the Pacific Ocean here in California. So let's just roll right through it. And the Raiders, before we get to the draft, let's get to some, a couple of tidbit of news. The Raiders cut a player today. They cut Jeff Heath. Jeff Heath is no longer a Raider. Who knows, through injuries, maybe he'll be back, but right now he's not. They signed Casey Hayward, a guy who played with Gus Bradley for a long time, and they are one of the finalists for Melvin Ingram. Thoughts about, obviously, listen, Jeff Heath is a backup player. On a good defense, he's a backup. He's not a starting free safety. So with getting, Trayvon Moreg, with getting some of these guys in the draft, it just seems like a perfect storm for him to go.
I just have to say that I feel like in my mind, I know a lot of us make up things in our minds of what the Raiders are doing, and we go with that. But what I'm thinking in my mind is Gruden's just saying, okay, Gus, go do what you got to do to give us a winning defense. And I kind of feel like, we'll get into the draft and stuff, but I feel like that's what kind of happened here. And this is just another thing it's like, I don't need this guy. I want this guy. I want Merrick. I want, Carl Joseph is still there too, so even when we get through the camps, who's going to make the rosters, what's it going to be like? But yeah, I don't think Heath is going to be missed at all. He made a couple plays, but, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good segue into just changing the culture and not keeping players that aren't capable. I mean, last year they said Eric Harris is our guy, and we saw how that went. So this year they're looking at a player like Heath. Yeah, he has some connections to, the special teams coach and Marinelli from the Cowboys because he played for the Cowboys. So there was something to bring him in there, but nothing worth keeping. It just admit, move on, upgrade, and just make this roster look competitive on the defensive side of the ball. So it had to happen. And like Ken said, no, nobody gonna miss him.
Nobody's gonna miss him. And I think the thing if Levitt can go too, that'd be nice as well. I think he being Gus Bradley is gonna play on the side of the great athlete. He wants his defenses. His defenses have athletes. I don't want to hear about a guy who's slow and just okay, who is just like, oh, but he's so smart. I don't want to give me the athlete. Give me the athlete. I'm good with that. So first round. Let me be the first one to not the first one, but to welcome Leatherwood, Moreg, Koontz, Diablo, Gillespie, Hobbs, and Morrissey to the Raiders. what happens from here on out is up to y'all. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That's a nice thing I'll say at the beginning.
Yeah.
So Leatherwood, first round pick. You gotta start. It's funny, like when we're texting back and forth, I was like, it's almost like I wait to see what Vic Tafer says, because he's so in tune. And he actually in his mock draft had Leatherwood and Morrig, but had him reversed. They probably should have been reversed, but who knows? Well, who knows down the road? What are your thoughts about the first time you heard Alex Leatherwood's name?
Here's my thing. Obviously, it's not the sexy pick. It's not what we wanted. I was banging the table for Jenkins. Sean, I think you had my back on that too. But with Leatherwood, I didn't have him too far back. I know I have with my mock draft that we do, and we gamble with I did horrible, but I did get all the the prop questions. I went 12 for 12, which is weird.
Wow.
Yeah, and I only got 2 picks right for the draft. the first 3 picks or something like that. Anyway, but I had Leatherwood going to the Steelers at 24, so not a complete jump, but still. And I'll be honest, like I was just like, oh my God, But I got over it. Like that night, like I started, we dig into the tape and we watch this guy, and I mean, this guy's a man. He is an animal, and I think it's gonna be all right. I'm okay with it. It's just like it's a tough pill to swallow for a quick second. It's like medicine. It's gonna make you feel better, But I think the saving grace here too is I kind of felt the same way I did with Miller, or with Colton Miller, and it worked out. So that's the saving grace here, in my opinion. Sean, what are you thinking?
I mean, the offense. We all agreed, and most every person that follows and loves the Raiders, we thought it was going to be offensive tackle anyways. So you have to accept that. Now, what kind of keys me off a little bit is, we thought the pick at 4 for Cleveland Federal was going to be the same thing. Was going to be an edge, a pass rusher. It just wasn't the one we wanted. They reached. We knew they needed a cornerback, and we didn't think Arnett was going to be the guy, but they got him and they reached. And so a lot of these picks, they're doing their job in-house and taking the guys they want. I'm not opposed to Leatherwood being the starting right tackle. I think he will walk in easily as long as he's healthy. He'll do well at that job. It's just you got to look at the scouting department, and kind of they failed a lot with these types of things by reaching for who they thought was a better fit. So hopefully this time, I just give it to Tom Cable. He's done his job. He's maintained a healthy offensive line with patchwork players. We just got rid of some very controversial good players that were in system. And so you know what? Because it's Tom Cable and because his reputation has been very good, quite honestly, I'm a little bit better with it. But I agree with what Dwayne said about Vic swapping the picks. No one would have reacted. It would have been the best draft ever, but they still got the same 2 players. So does it really matter in the end? I don't know, but he's a Bama product. They like the big school guys. And like Ken said, like just reviewing some film and things he's done. Yeah, he's nasty. He's got the fit. So, at the end of the day, the pick is I accept it as a fan. I'm on board now.
Yeah, and like I said, like for me, like I wanted a boring draft. It wasn't boring because people were criticizing where it was. The Raiders don't get the benefit of the doubt at all in the draft in the draft world.
They shouldn't, yeah.
And not in any way whatsoever. I'm not giving them one, but I'll give Tom Cable that. If Tom Cable looked at all the guys and said to me, I would have been more like, "Hey Tom, give me 2 or 3 guys." Let's not go into this thing with this myopic feeling of, oh, I got to get one guy. That's it. Let's just go give me Verishaw. Give me a couple of give me a couple guys, and then I'll see how the draft goes, and I'll get you one of them. Right. Just saying that he's the like. They just say things that you don't have to say. Like you can't have your chest out when you're 8-8 every year. Like Mayock is sitting there saying, "Oh, we had him as the best tackle in the whole draft." I'm like, dude, that's not like. Yeah. It just makes me like annoyed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it makes me annoyed. I don't bother me with that part of it. But he can play. He's a good pass rush. I mean, he's a good run blocker and he needs work on his sets as far as pass blocking goes.
Yeah, a little bit. Yep.
I think Ryan Holmes on the Put On Waivers NFL show made a good point. He said, when you're down in some of these games, that's where he worries about Leatherwood. You know,
because you're passing.
because you got to pass. I mean, as far as like the stretch game with Drake and Jacobs, yeah. I mean,
Right.
he seems like he should be able to do that no problem as far as that goes.
That's why, and to your point, like Jenkins, who me and Ken both thought would be the selection 17, and Darsaw, they're both there. They weren't gone. If they were, I don't think people would say anything. They got the best tackle. So it's going to be interesting as we parallel their careers, aligning to what Leatherwood does.
Well, I mean, Jenkins didn't go till what, like almost the mid-second round, I think, right? So something was going on.
Yeah. I mean, we see it every year in the draft. People just completely plummet and fall beyond recognition, but which worked out, which we'll talk about. Dwayne's probably going to segue to the second round pick.
I will. But before we do that, we do have some interaction on the YouTube live. Raider Nug 209.
Oh yeah, I know.
Underscore Vince. Yeah. Wanted to know our thoughts on Casey Hayward. I think Casey Hayward could be pretty much what we thought maybe Prince Amukamara could be. That veteran presence. Maybe he will make the roster. Maybe he won't. Veteran, knows the system, should be in the right place at the right time. He can play. He can play that cover 3 very well. I mean, he's a veteran. He's not like a world beater. He's just a solid veteran, right?
And I think the good thing is like for how I'm looking at it, the secondary is so young. There's no one over like 20. Yeah. Like Carl Joseph is now the veteran of the
That's
group
crazy.
until we sign Casey Hayward.
Hayward and Joseph are the veterans on the secondary.
Hayward's 31, I think. 31, maybe 30.
Yeah. You're probably right, but I'm just saying, like, I'm much more on board with this than I am with Richard Sherman. So I'm happy. I'm like, you got your veteran player. He does have Gus Bradley experience, and he's not Richard Sherman, who I think his personality is good. His leadership is good. But for our group, I think we have some guys that are pretty, like Arnett and Mullen and Abram. They have pretty. We need someone that's not going to come in and like babysit or be the father figure. Yeah. Just let's play ball. Use your physical attributes. And I think Sherman would have been in some battles with these guys.
And I would love to see behind the scenes of that. I'm sure Gruden wanted Sherman more. And I agree. And I that makes me feel better because I feel like Gruden's just saying, "All right, Bradley, what do you need?" And
it's not his. No, he should do that because it's not his side of the ball.
This is what we wanted. This is exactly what we wanted.
Give him everything he wants. Yep. Give him everything he wants, and that's how the Raiders should really roll with this. I'm not gonna don't play games. Just give him what he wants and hook him up because he is. He's better than PG. So hopefully, and it's night and day. It's night and day between him better than PG. So I was sweating because I could not really watch the draft, but I will tell you how I watched the draft and how I think it's an improved experience for fans if they want to the new way. So I watched the draft. Back and forth. I was busy doing all this. I was out and about, and I could not sit down and watch it. But that second round pick, when I saw Holland go to Miami, I was like, "Ooh, okay, all right." So now we're gonna see a run on safeties, and a guy who I like a lot, Richie Grant, goes to Atlanta. I'm like, "Oh boy, like what's going on?" He's not gonna make it to 48. Like Trayvon Moehrig is not making it to 48. So the Raiders trade with our good friends from the 49ers. Thank God they didn't want him either because the Niners could have just said, hey, you know what? We don't really need a safety, but he's damn good. We'll just take him. They get him. They trade for him. I'll give him credit for making that deal. I would have just tried to move up to the top of the second round just to make sure I got him. I was on record as saying, take the safety first.
Yep.
Take the safety first. There's a lot of really good tackles in this draft, but hey, the Raiders actually have, and if he's healthy and whatever, an actual functional, good, potentially coherent free safety in silver and black. Thank you, Jesus.
Well, he's got to go out there and prove it. One thing that really made me happy, and I'm going to go just back to Leatherwood for this too, is after the conferences with Mayock, he mentioned that these are going to be starters. They're not drafting for guys that are going to sit on the bench. Like they're going to come in, they're going to compete for that starting position. It's not like somebody you're going to stash behind. whoever. And we saw a lot of free safety action too. We didn't know who was going to be starting on the other side there, and then even Sherman's name was being thrown around. But Merrick, that's the real deal, man. And we got lucky. And I'm glad that they were aggressive and they moved up. I saw them move up. I was like, man,
thank you, Miami.
They better be going after him. And I didn't want to say anything. I was trying to play it cool, and everybody's saying, well, they should have took Merrick first and then Leatherwood. But you know what? It doesn't matter. They're on the team now. That's it.
They got them both. And the order. I mean, like Sean said, we can't get too hung up on the order. They got both players, right?
Yeah, and I honestly, I really think they would have sat at where they were and taken Richie Grant had he fallen. But I think because the way the board went, I don't know how their free safety board was 1, 2, and 3, but I really, that's the feeling I have. Yeah. But I regardless, I think they got a high caliber pedigree player. That's just just
team captain.
And like Dwayne's pointed out before, if you're not a team captain, you're not gonna play.
You can't play the Raiders. seriously.
But yeah, good pick, and yeah, I think like the way it worked out, they got the two biggest needs. I think the only thing is like the way I looked at it was this team was not a right tackle away from being a contender last season. They weren't. The offense was scoring 27 points a game. They were top 10 offense.
Exactly.
They were a capable defense away. So that's why prioritizing, if this was their guy or if Richie Grant, I would have been fine if they took 17 safety and whatever tackle they got later traded down. But again, like we've all kind of agreed, it is what it is. They got two positions of need in the top 2 rounds. So
yeah, no real question about it. And he is really, we watch him on film, he's really good. He just the back pedal, the ability to he's pointing out as he's running where the coverage should be. I mean, it's yelling at his teammates to make sure they're in the right position. You can tell by the film work that he's on it. Like he's on his game. So
he can tackle too. He can.
Yeah, he's not scared. He's not scared.
Like just take someone down in the open field. He can do that.
I just want to say one thing real quick. Corey Griner in our chat room here on the YouTubes is asking, do you guys think Gruden stepped back because he knows it's playoffs or bust? I think this whole draft kind of shows that Gruden stepped back because they didn't take a skill player for the first time.
You didn't even see him on camera that much.
Yeah, so this is awesome. They took foundational players that no flashy shit, and I dig it. So yes, Corey, I do think Gruden is like, as Sean said, the offense was not the problem for the most part. For a lot of these games it was defense. So they rebuilt the defense not just in the draft but also the free agency. So and it's still we're seeing talks of the two guys, Ingram and we just signed what's his face, the
Casey
cornerback,
Hayward.
Casey Hayward. So they're still building this defense, and that's all Bradley, and I'm in for it. I like it.
So I think it's good. Sorry, real quick on that. I think it's good because the investment on defense needs to match the transactions and what you're doing. And right now it looks like they really, really align themselves, Gruden, to do that. So I think Gruden, if he looks at it in this aspect, he knows his offense is operative. Yes, you kicked way too many field goals last year. That's on you. But everything else is, okay, let's cater to that side of the ball because there's Patrick Mahomes in my division. There's Herbert in my division. And I know Dwayne will eventually get to it, but there's a guy named Aaron Rodgers who potentially could be a Denver destination. So it's time to get the defense tidied up.
Yeah, no question about it. So I think that's the way they're going. This week we're only going to talk about the first 3 picks, and then halfway through we'll roll with the Aaron Rodgers and all the other stuff going on in the world as far as that goes. But Malcolm Koontz, defensive end, kind of that Leo position, smaller defensive end, a really good athlete coming off the edge, and then Divine Diablo, which is probably the best name in the whole damn draft, no question about it. But of course, John says he has to always sprinkle a little bit of something that pisses you off a little bit. So John says, "Oh, last time we drafted somebody from Buffalo." On the phone call to Malcolm Koontz, I'm like, dude, why?
Get that out of your mind. Everybody's got to get it out of their mind.
Dude, number one, he's not the same prospect.
And he didn't draft him.
and you didn't draft him, and you got rid of him, and you shouldn't have got rid of him. You should have forced them. You should have forced them to play for you. So whatever. But that's neither here nor there. But the play what I like about it is I can people poo pooed it. I know Dan Bugler, whatever his name is, on what's his name on the Athletic said, hey, he was in my top 200. I know people thought it was early, but I think that people who are analyzing football from TV who have never been in that room. That's why I like Louis Riddick so much. If you're never in that room, it's very hard that pressure is like, it just takes one team to just say, oh, I like Koontz, and then pick him right after you, or pick him right before you, or pick him when you were going to pick him right after you when you were going to wait for him. So just get your guys. What are your thoughts about Koontz and Diablo? I think a guy like Tanner Muse might be, I don't know. That jersey might have to.
No, he's going to play, man.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know.
He better play. He's going to owe me $100.
Yeah, Divine. No, Divine's looking pretty good. Divine look that him on tape looked pretty good.
Listen, at the Koontz pick, I'm just hoping he's better than what's his LSU boy there that we just let go.
Arden
Key.
Who wasn't the key. But.
Yeah, he was not the key. Arden was not the key. No, you look at the tape. Like he's definitely an animal. He's hungry, but so did Arden Key. Arden Key looked great coming out of college. So I think it's up to Gus Bradley. I know he doesn't blitz a lot, so we'll see what happens. Definitely a package player. And
third down. No pressure for him to play right now.
Yeah,
I mean, play every down, right?
Right now it's Yannick and Crosby. That's your key right there to get to the passer. So I like it. Diablo, I think he's going to get lost in the mix there. I don't think he's going to come in and make a huge impact. I mean, it's the name. we do want to see that name flying around, but I just think until we see some final rosters or whatever, I'm not getting my hopes up too much. He looks like an exciting player. He definitely likes to tackle. You can see that he's got a bigger build. I think somebody compared him to Cam Chancellor, or something like that, and I can kind of see that. But I'm not getting my hopes up on anybody, man. Merrick, yes, I have my hopes up for Merrick. That's about it. Leatherwood. I think he'll be all right, but other than that, we'll see what happens.
Man, I'm with Ken full-heartedly. To me, I just feel like after the first two picks, with exception to the 7th rounder, they picked like
I was just gonna say that too. I was gonna say Morrissey too.
Yeah.
I agree with you, man.
But they're just picking like hybrid tweener, doesn't really have a position in the NFL yet players, and that's risky because that's on Gus. And if Gruden, I get it, let's cater to the defensive side of the ball, but how much of an impact would we expect Koontz to have in the 3rd round? And we went back to back. Last year we went back to back as well, right in the top of the 3rd round, and one of those players is gone. Should we trade
Koontz to the Dolphins now?
I'm just saying. It's interesting. Like the Koontz pick threw me off. Like I know BD Williams and John Mark NFL and Tape Don't Lie guys both.
They were the first ones on. They were first ones on. They were first ones on. No question about it.
So cool. Like I trust that aspect. I just still think at the top of the 3rd round, that's a role player. That's not someone who's going to be ever in his career, I don't think. And if he is, that'd be great on the field, all 3 downs and a Pro Bowler and a no. So that's not okay. So I get teams can do luxury picks like that in the 3rd round. I don't think we can. Diablo, I love that pick. And I'm probably being hypocritical because it's kind of the same thing. He played wide receiver. He converted the defensive side of the ball. He's like height, weed, speed, like Dwayne was saying. He has the physical measurements that are like, yes, I like that. But where is he going to play? Is he another Nicholas Morrow? Like, because he's quick and he can guard tight end and he's also physical. Is he someone that's going to test for Abrams' job and move to strong safety in Gus's system? Is he like, what do you do with him? And if you can't figure it out, he's just going to be going down on kickoff. Like, same with Koontz. He'd be going down on kickoff and punt return or something. Like, is that going to help us win more games? No. So I'm kind of like, I need to see the upside happen than to be excited for the player. And so I'm cool with 1st, 2nd round, but these 2 picks, I'm very like, okay, well,
Was there anybody you wanted in like if you had a little draft do over? Is there anybody in that third round you would?
I didn't. I mean, I didn't know. I
I mean,
think.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I should have prepared for that on the
Yeah.
show, but I guarantee you, there's guys that were
Okay.
more equitable and at a better value for what this team needs on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, there's guys that. I mean, yeah, I'll look at it. I'll let Ken talk, and I'll pull up my phone because there's guys that went after this that were, well, especially a defensive tackle position, which the Raiders think they already have an answer there. I guess they didn't even draft there, so.
Well, they did take the kid out of was it West Virginia there, but
Undrafted. He's undrafted,
right? But to Sean's point too, if you even look at last year's draft, we still got players that haven't really made an impact yet that came in the later rounds, like Meek and even Tanner Muse that are on the backside there, and there's a lot of bodies.
But it was COVID.
It'll be COVID this year too.
I know.
It was something. Yeah, everybody at that draft got COVID, man. It was like COVID central. It did not make any sense to me. I didn't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. So to me, as far as getting to the quarterback, if you're getting somebody who's going to help you get to the quarterback, and he's going to be somebody he's third downs. He's not going to play. I'm not asking him to be an edge player. I get it. That's fine. Maybe they have a package, where he can get on the field. Who knows if Yannick needs a blow or something like that? That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I am a little bit more. I'm a little bit more excited about Diablo than I am him. You saw Jeremy Chin last year go from safety to will linebacker. If one of those guys like if Morrow or why is he speaking about Littleton? If somebody's not, I think some of these safety prospects, they're looking at, hey, you could possibly move them the same way they did Jeremy Chin as well too. So that could be possible as well. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, yeah, but if you get anything after the third and fourth round, I mean, that's just like, that is really, once you get first two guys pick one, pick two, like Sean said, those are starters. Yeah. You get something out of the 3, 4, 5th, 3, 4, 5, and yeah, that you did a damn good job.
We're looking for Max Crosby. Right?
Yeah, I think we were all saying before the draft, like they got to hit at least two of these guys. They've got to hit. It doesn't matter. Out of all the players, they've got to hit on at least two of them.
Yeah, and I almost with the back-to-back picks, I thought they would go defense and go offense, and I felt like. I just did. I felt like they were going to do that, and I felt like a guy who they didn't pick up, who I thought had Tom Cable written all over it, was Spencer Brown, like that gigantic left tackle who went to Northern Iowa. That's a guy who I talked about a lot on the Put On Waivers podcast. Like I thought that he was. I thought he'd be a guy who they would jump all over, but we'll see. I was happy that we didn't draft Melifonwu just because I just didn't want to.
Oh yeah,
he could be a real football player and be like better than his brother, but I didn't want another Melifonwu on the Raiders.
Truth be told, I do own an Obi Melifonwu jersey.
Oh, Ken,
I do.
Yeah, Mom.
And I rode. I rode with him on an airplane. Actually, I rode with him on an airplane.
C.O. Moore too, UConn.
I didn't get a C.O. Moore jersey. I did like him though.
Yeah, that's funny, man. Yeah.
So I just wanted to say real quick about the draft, watching the draft experience, watching the draft. So I was on the go. Really didn't have. I'm not paying for ESPN Plus. Under any circumstances, I'm not paying for ESPN Plus.
No, never.
I'm not doing that. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, worldwide leader. I'm not doing it. So I didn't do that. NFL Network was a little bit, it was too much. Bleacher Report. When I tell you that they did a next level job covering the draft, and that's the future of how we should watch the draft. They had one sponsor, Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage stuff was all over the place, and they would do like live, commercials for like Rocket Mortgage. But when I tell you they talked about every player, they talked about every single player. And then Adam Lefkow was talking shit, saying, "Hey, listen, look at the world, look at the other networks. They're 4 minutes and they have a commercial going on for 4 minutes. Yep. We're still talking about players who they're not even going to talk about." I thought that was really cool. RG3 Keep Talib was one of those guys there. But if you in the future, I will always watch it on on NFL Network because I mean I'm sorry on Bleacher Report because it's just better. It's just a better experience. It was a really good experience, but especially if you're on the go.
If you notice, a lot of the Raider picks, they use the commercial time right at it, especially the mid to late. Right, it was just like.
Did they come back and talk Raiders?
At some times, at other times, it was like they came
very
back.
Biased.
It was like they may have talked about the more exciting picks since the commercial break,
or talked about the New York and the Patriots getting Mac Jones and East Side. ESPN is a Boston network. No question about it. Baby. East Coast baby. Let's see here. What's the next thing I want to say?
East Coast Nation.
That's right.
That's right. East Coast Nation. East Side. All right, so we got some questions here real quick. The Raiders from New York. We have mad safeties. I love slang. We have mad safeties. Not mad meaning angry safeties, but a plethora of safeties, if you will. So, what does that mean for Jonathan Abram? Is the question. Thank you for listening and watching. It just to me, listen. I feel like he can play. I feel like him.
He's gonna play. He's a first round pick. It's not like I'm gonna cut him.
No. It's not cutting him. It's just talking about like what does that mean for like his if he's. I mean like listen, he's not gonna sit if he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. This is not a situation where he's gonna be. He has like the coach saying, "Hey, you got to play him anyway." I mean, he has to come in and play well. I think him playing closer to the box, Moreg being away being that free safety, that'll help out a lot. And I think competition brings out the best in everybody. So to me, and he's already a year. He has more experience in the league than those guys do, and just got to stay healthy, and he should be fine. There was a difference in the league. In I do like that when I watch him on film, he does make mistakes. It was PG, but I would say no matter what the score is, I respect the fact that dude hustles and tackles, and he plays. Now he just needs direction. So he gets that direction. I think that I think he'd have a good season for the Raiders.
I agree. I think that's something that Gunther was hurting his role a little bit. I think, and coaching and how he plays as a tackler. He's got to play smarter, and not just injury wise, but penalty wise. Especially with the league as soft as it is right now, and the way he plays, he's got to tone it down just a notch. I mean, we want that. We want to see people get knocked the hell out, but we don't want to see a yellow flag at the end of that and put these guys into scoring position when it's 3rd and 15, and they get a penalty and whatever it is. So if he plays smarter, that's good. But I don't think, obviously the pressure is going to be there, and not just for him, but for even Arnett and Trayvon Mullen too. I mean, there's a lot of players that, and I think this, Dwayne, you said a good point. Like competition brings out the best in them, and it's what they're here to do. They're there to compete. Yeah. They're getting paid millions to compete, and it's next man up mentality. Who's going to give us the best chance of winning? So I'm for it. But Abram is a good player. I think I'm going to be happy to see him and Merrick back there and busting some heads. I just hope it all comes together.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I think like when I look at it, I hope Abram's the guy. If not, like you have so much flexibility with Carl Joseph because he's played free and strong. Yep. And he's physical hitter, but he can make more plays in space than Abrams. You already know that. So it's like, to me, it's honestly, like we talked about Gus getting power and rain, but guess what? Like he's overdrafting Gruden's failures right now. He's literally saying, Abram is expendable. And Arnett is expendable.
And friends should do that for friends.
Yes, right. Like, but I'm just saying it's a terror. It's a positive and a negative at the same time.
Hey, no question.
It's a hey, we may not give a second contract to Abram, to Cleveland Farrell, to all these players, but we already have another replacement in there. It's a bad cycle because it just shows your drafting was terrible and your free agency moves were not good enough. But it's also an indication of I'm going to let a guy with a higher IQ than me that runs the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to let him manage that. Like, here's your resources. My offense is still going to be, hopefully, top 10. So here's what you get to do. So it's good and bad. It's kind of worrisome because it's like Abram was, he's part, like these guys are part of the Khalil Mack trade, like all these resources we got and everything. It's like if they visit, like it looks like we lost that trade right now. I mean, I don't know what
Regardless,
changed that. I mean,
regardless of how the records have been with both
yeah,
teams, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's a wash. So, but now it's at the point to where who cares about owning up to that? Let's just make sure we have backup plans or players that we think we can develop to fill these holes, which are still not proven. One defensive proven player, Yannick. After that, who you can say? Casey Hayward, KJ? I don't know. Who else is more proven? I don't know. Max? I don't know. It's Yannick. We have 1 star on defense, so figure it out. Oh, your mic.
Sorry about that. And that's why they spent the big money on him in the free agency to bring in that star player. We're lacking that star power, and Yannick is going to be able to eat, and I think Crosby's going to benefit from that. Well, and Dwayne, I think Dwayne mentioned about the defensive tackle position. We're going to see how they play with that.
Solomon Thomas, Quentin Jefferson, Kendall
Someone's
Vickers,
Pharrell.
I don't get that at all, but
I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, I think it's just it's a whole new defense again. We're just
It's like I said, it's not easy to go through it all the time. But I mean, defensively, I think one thing that John Gruden kind of like, you know, where the old school football meets the new school football is, give me tacklers over hitters any day of the week. Like that Ronnie Lott, like, knock somebody out, like, you know, all that stuff like that. It's not about that anymore. It's about intercepting the ball. It's about PBUs, and it's about tackles. It's about tackling players. So, you know, we've seen once in a while some plays from him, but we got to see more. 17 games. I mean, I think Louis Riddick said it best when he had a 2 interception game against somebody, and he's playing for Belichick. And Belichick gave somebody else the game ball. And he was like, damn, I mean, I played the best game of my life. And he didn't acknowledge me. So they're walking past each other, you know, as he's going upstairs, and, you know, he's leaving the stadium. And Belichick walks by Louis Riddick and said, but can you do it again? You know, I mean, and that's what he did. I mean, most coaches would have been like, "Oh, 2 interceptions, 5 tackles, PBUs. Here you go." And I mean, that's that motivational piece there. Let's just squash the A-Rod thing now. Let's just go. We're going A-Rod now. So everybody gotta go scorch earth. Let's go. Aaron Rodgers, one of my favorite quarterbacks. I mean, I love the dude. No question, I love the dude. He should already be a Raider, because we should have drafted him anyway. Not that, you know, back in the day, life would have been a lot different if we did draft him, right? So just like Watson, for me, I'll just talk real quick. Just like Watson, just like Wilson, Tom Brady. I don't see this happening. And I think for them, it's really, for them to take a $30 million pay, whatever the salary cap hit. Yeah. I don't think they're doing that. I know if it's after June 1st, it's only $20 million, but like they're not. You're asking a team to make a trade that you wouldn't make. So I mean, he can talk and say whatever. At the end of the day, I just don't feel like he's gonna get traded. If he does, yes, the Raiders should do whatever they have to do to get him. Yes, I like Carr, but I would move on from Carr for Aaron Rodgers. I would.
I'm gonna piggyback off that.
Go ahead, Ken.
You and me, like, you know, I know Sean has his opinions on Carr every now and then, but I agree with you on that. Like, I like Carr a lot. I think he's done the best he can do for the most part with what's going on around him. And Rodgers is a top 3, top 4 quarterback, however you want to break that down.
He's an all-time great.
Yeah, but you're bringing in the experience. He still can play. He's a leader. He's got the energy. He can make all the throws. He can make the game winners just like Carr does.
Him and Waller. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's not much you can say anything bad. But one thing I do want to just point out, and I thought I saw somebody tweet this out, and it was a really good point, is the loyalty that Carr has shown through all of this. You know, he never asked to be traded. the fans hate him. Like half the fan base hates him, half of them like him. But he's always been about the Raiders, and he's always been committed. And that we got guys like Aaron Rodgers or even Tom Brady that just they leave their team, and Carr straight out says, "I'm going to play for the Raiders. I'm not going to play for anybody else."
Yeah.
So that's got to count for something.
He's made enough money where he actually might do that if they try to trade him.
Yeah,
he actually might do it because
So
he's made a lot of money.
I appreciate that a lot, but right now he's got to build off the last 2 seasons. He's progressing each season, and I think with these young guns and these young tools that he has, especially Waller, he can do that. The running game's there, the offensive line is there. There's no more excuses again, and I'm not going to put any blame on him from last season. Maybe 1 or 2 games, we already went through that. But Rodgers is definitely an upgrade, and if it happened, you're damn right I'm going to be wearing that jersey, and I'll forget about Carr, and I wish him the best, but I don't think it's going to happen. And this is fourth year for Gruden, right? His fourth. Yeah, this is his third draft. He hasn't drafted a quarterback, so
not one.
This guy.
Let's go.
I don't know. I mean, I'm all over the place with this one. Like, it's first of all, it's not going to happen. I will say 0% chance. I would probably leverage some very expensive, important things in my life to bet that it won't happen. Carr won't play for another team. I think Dwayne is right. I think he'd go into his passer career or something else. It's just not going to happen all around. What I do like about it is Rodgers draws similarities in his personality to the last number 12 quarterback we had in Rich Gannon. He's an asshole. And Gruden has a yes man with Carr. Carr will just do what he said to do, and the outcome is the outcome. Gannon will come to the sidelines and just throw a tirade with Gruden. And I think Rodgers, if you've seen how his personality works in Green Bay, he's very transparent about how he feels about the organization is running, loyalty to certain players and things. It's just a mess. It'll never happen, which I think is unfortunate. Like, I think eventually a lot of these franchises are moving on from good, capable quarterbacks, which is exactly what Carr is, but looking for something that has a higher upside. I guess we're not there yet. I don't think we're there yet. I think with this devotion to increasing the defensive side of the ball, this is Carr's year to say that. If the defense incrementally, goes in the 18th overall, 19th overall, and we're still, we play 17 games, we're 8-9 or whatever, and then I think Gruden and they'll use resources to add a quarterback, but not going to happen.
I don't think it's not going to happen either. And I don't I don't know where it comes from, but I feel like, the whole Terry Bradshaw thing where he's going after him, I feel like that's like old man, get off my lawn. Like, do people understand how much money that Brady has made in New England? Like, right. the franchise worth is worth so much more money now. Same thing with Green Bay. Like, you can't sit there. Winning does that, and I think that's him. First of all, it's not your money. Like, players, that whole saying where you don't talk about another player's money is usually the word of the day at the NFL. So as far as that goes, that's kind of crazy. As far as that goes, Juwan James he tore his Achilles and could miss the whole year. He's an offensive tackle for the Broncos. So my question to you guys is this: famously, Gronk faked the workout video last year over Zoom, right? The players don't even want the rookies to go to camp. Do you feel like the teams are going to tell all these people who are working out like in the desert, like Derek Carr and people like that, and all other squads are doing the same thing? Do you want to tell them to stop doing it? Because if somebody gets hurt, I mean, they have no obligation to even pay him anymore because he got hurt outside of the team facility, not working out. I
think they're professionals. They know their body. They're on their own terms. For the most part, these guys are a lot younger. And they're in prime shape. I don't think they're going to be doing strenuous stuff. So I'm okay with it. I think especially when you're getting to know, like John Brown, for instance, and even Brian Edwards, you got to start to know that. You got to get Foster Moreau back into this because it looks like he's going to be taking that role that we all want him to take.
Oh my God, please take that role, please.
Where's your jersey, Dwayne?
Oh, I'm getting one this year.
You better do it, man. They raised the prices on those jerseys, by the way, $20. Pieces of shit. Sorry.
I mean, did they? Are we paying for no fans? That was a 20. That $20 is for no fans in the stadiums last year.
Pretty much, man. They got to make up that money.
They get that money somehow.
Didn't he sit? He sat out last year, right?
Who?
Juwan?
Juwan James.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
didn't
was
play last year,
Yeah.
right? Because of
I
COVID.
don't think he did. I don't think he did.
So I'm almost positive, and I'm trying to look it up right now. But if that's the case, you sit out and then you come back and then you blow your like you 2 years out of football. I don't know. That's interesting, but and regardless, like these players, I mean, hey, like I'm all for like unions and people having fair rights at their workplace, but at some point, it's like I don't have that backing. I don't have any luxury in my life to not support my family for these things. I know you put your life physical constraints to play football, but hey, man, it's a job and it's a career that pays you more than 90 something percent of people around you. So risk and reward.
Yeah, I mean, and then doesn't it look crazy for the NFLPA right now as cities are opening up and everybody's going back to work, and for them to be kind of telling their players not to go to camp, like that's kind of like.
And they have access to testing and whatever the hell they want is.
The whole thing across the board, though, it's not just football. It's all a mess. It really is. It's just everything's a mess. Nothing makes sense. You can't do this, but you can do that. You shouldn't do this, but you're going to do that.
And Mayock said the same thing, right? I can't have a dinner with a player, but all those fans can go to Cleveland and and do that. So that was one of the few things that Mayock said that I agree with as far as that goes. So
I'll be going to the game. I'll tell you that. I'll be going.
I'll be going as well. Any draft things that non-Raider like? I know Sean has some probably some AFC West things you wanna roll with real quick.
AFC West a little bit. Yeah, I think it's interesting when you look around what the other teams did. I think Chargers kind of took what fell to their lap. I personally think the Chiefs, for what they had and what they went out there for, and they already did some things in free agency, they're secure.
They just keep getting better. They just keep getting better.
And Chargers, like I said, they did the things that were there for them. So yes, and yet to be seen if they have a coaching staff in place to excel that. But Denver is interesting because I feel like they have the offensive line, which we just talked about, Juwan J, like that's an issue. But they just have playmakers. Like if Rodgers went there, they got yes, he may not have the best time or protection. We've seen him without that before, and he's like won MVPs with bad offensive lines as opposed to high productive years with better lines. But it's interesting. The AFC is very, very competitive. I think we're right there with like the NFC West with Arizona and the Niners and the Seahawks and the Rams. I think we're right there. I think it's a challenging division. There's not much room for error, but you don't want to look out. I know Dwayne's always like, you worry about what's in the house. He's right. You're right, but it's
because I can't control it. But I see I do see your point though. No question.
I think it's like, and sometimes it's like you draft. Some people agree with this, some don't. Best player available, this that. I think at some point you draft according to your division, and Mahomes and Herbert ain't going anywhere for a decade. So we need to defy that. So we'll just have to see how these things work out. But the AFC West is going to be. It's going to be probably the best it's been on paper, and I don't know, maybe since like the early 2000s or 90s, in my opinion. There's a lot of talent out there.
Should be a fun ride as far as that goes. I mean, there's a lot going on. We're gonna part ways here, and because we got to roll. Anything in parting you want to say, Ken, before we get out of here?
Yeah, I do have one thing. The draft is over. Free agency is on its tail end here. They'll pick up some stragglers here and there. But our listeners, Raider fans, you're gonna see a lot of these draft recaps, draft grades. They're a bunch of bullshit. Just like mock drafts, you just don't know what's gonna happen. Where the players got value, whatever it is, you can chop it up how you want. I gave up a long time looking at draft value or the grades or whatever, and it's just these guys. There's nothing going on. There's nothing to talk about. So the media is going to feast on the draft for a couple weeks, a month, or whatever it is, and they're going to throw out these stupid grades that don't make any sense, and they're not watching, the guy BD Williams, he watches the tapes. He watches every single player, and I'm going to give him some props there, but these media guys don't. You know what I'm saying? They're just going to throw out their best opinion on who told them that this person should have gone here or there. And I'm going to say this, though. I do feel like there were 2 steals of the draft that I really liked. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, I'll say 3. Merrick was one of them. But the first one is Fields going to Chicago. I think Fields is going to have one of the best. See, I think he can be Rookie of the Year. That's my opinion.
Believe the Washington football team did not make that move.
Yeah.
They are, I mean, they are just like primed for that move. They have everything they need. I'm not sure. That's crazy to me that they didn't make that move. But go ahead.
The other one I liked, so we've got Fields, then we got the Raiders with Merrick, and I like the Lions taking the wide receiver, was Amon-Ra out of USC. I think that was a steal in the 3rd round. So yeah, those were my 3 picks there. Oh, Asante Samuel Jr. I'll throw that one as an honorable mention too.
Good player. All right, cool. Listen, I like the interaction of the people on Facebook Live. So definitely thank you for joining us there. We'll get the podcast out as well for those folks who are listening in the audio sense, not visual sense, as far as that goes. All right, guys. Take care. Peace.